My name is Linda Locke. I'm president of the Berryessa Citizens Advisory Council. I'd like to start the meeting. Oh yeah, it says Ty here. Oh, there he is. Okay, all right. We do have the minutes of the last meeting, which was October, and they're out on the table there. And there's a budget report out on the table. So if anybody has any questions or comments or corrections to the minutes, does anybody have any corrections to the minutes? All right, thank you. Moving right along. What's this pen? Oh, here. Treasurer's report. Does anybody have any questions about the treasurer's report? It's almost time to pay dues again. We collect dues in December, right? Usually December dues. So the reports are on the table, so, all right. Now, I have my little award that we got because we were so good. We were invited to participate with the San Jose Municipal Golf Course. They wanted to have some community outreach. They wanted community outreach, and so they were doing a trunk or treat. And so several, like we said, well, sure, we'll participate. And so Roxanne was there, and Jamal, and Ty, and myself, and Susan. And Ty and Susan dressed up. I had don't fall. This was the first year they ever did it, and so they had, they had awards that they wanted to pass out, and so we got the award for, not only did we decorate our trunk in a really adorable way, but we had people that were in costume also. So this is what we won. I just wanted to make sure, and after the meeting, you can look at the picture to see how adorable we really were. Okay. Now, tonight also, according to our bylaws, November meeting, this is November, right? I always have to check. I look at the newspaper to check the day and the month to see where we are. And we take nominations from the floor to, for anybody that would like to join our board. Our current board has said they would like to stay on in the positions that they are in currently, so I'll introduce them in a minute. And if anybody else would like to join, we do have 2 positions for at-large that were vacant, and we do have 2 people that have volunteered right now to be part of that. So I will ask you now if anyone would, in the audience now, would like to volunteer to be on the board. The election is not till December, so you have a little time. You could call me if you think you'd like to do that. But for now, I'd like, so I'm the president. Roxanne Fuentes, Dr. Fuentes is the vice president currently. Cedar Kern is not here, but we got coffee anyway. We lucked out with coffee and cookies. She's the corresponding secretary. Susan is the treasurer. Jamal is one of the at-large. He's over here. You guys are making more noise than me. Sharon Root is here. She's an at-large member in the back. Okay, and Eric Pennington is our outreach coordinator. So we have 2 people. Is Prasanna here? Prasanna? She volunteered to be, and she usually has been coming to the meetings, so she might show up a little late.
I'm in Zoom.
Cummings has volunteered to be an at-large member. So, would you want to stand up and say who you are? Thank you. So next month, we will present to you a slate of people that we have. We'll have a full slate by then. And if anybody else would like to join us, you're most welcome. All right. We have the law enforcement here today. Did Captain Sanchez show up? I don't see any police here tonight. I meant to call him just to remind him. Okay. But we do have the sheriff department here tonight, and Sergeant Moore is going to say a few words about how wonderful this community is.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'm Sergeant Dan Woods from the Santa Clara County Sheriff's Office, obviously. Lieutenant Moore, unfortunately, got injured off duty, so he wouldn't come in today. So I was asked to come and kind of go over the things that we've been observing, and as far as in the unincorporated pockets here on the east side of San Jose and in the East Foothills. As usual, I'll just cover some key points. I know that there's always been issues up on Sierra Road, Felter, and then up on Clayton and Mount Hamilton in regards to use or unsurly type citizens being up there and either drinking, using alcohol, using drugs, illegally parking, blocking traffic. When Lieutenant Moore came to the meeting last month, the concern was raised again. Since that month, at least I'm assigned to our headquarters patrol division, which includes the east side of San Jose, all the unincorporated pockets. I can tell you that at least an hour to 2 hours a night, deputies are going up there. They're issuing traffic citations. In the last month, we've issued several parking citations. We've actually arrested a couple people on outstanding arrest warrants. And on top of that, we recovered a stolen vehicle that was up there that hadn't even been reported stolen yet. So we are up there. We try and stagger or vary the times that we go up there, so you may or may not see us. But we are up there. We're trying to show a presence up there and try and deter those types of elements of the community from going up there and disrupting the neighborhoods up there. Obviously, we also have the unincorporated pockets down here in the valley. So it is as available. We'll go up there as available. However, we have been going up there pretty much 7 days a week, at least 1 or 2 hours at night. As far as the day shift guys, I'm not sure. I didn't get a chance to talk to their supervisor, but I know the message was sent from Lieutenant Moore to all the different shifts to try and get up there and do some patrol and have some visibility up there to deter any type of crime. What else? There's one issue or a couple issues also up there on the foothills, not necessarily only Sierra Road, but there's abandoned properties up there with unsecured homes. And I know that there's times as soon as the youth figure out that there's an abandoned property up there, they tend to try and go in there and use it as a party house, things like that. Obviously, if you see something like that, give us a call right away and we'll come out and try and help you guys deal with it. A lot of times, we do need help from the property owners too, though, right? If the property isn't secured, isn't fenced in, boarded up, and it's completely vacant, they're gonna find it. The youth are gonna find it and they're gonna start either vandalizing it or partying up there. I know that sometimes they have to trespass on other people's property to get to that property. So if you guys can help us out by securing that property as best you can, put some lighting up, maybe some cameras. There's some pretty affordable cameras out there that you can put up and view them through internet. And it's real helpful for us because we can't always be up there every time, and it takes a while sometimes to get up there. But if you guys have a camera and you know right when they show up and you call us, it may help us get there a little quicker and deal with the people that are there. But we are aware of the problem and we are checking. The midnight guys and my shift, we're aware of the residents that have been routine and habitual for problems like that. So we will stop and check those houses whenever we can. And again, and try and find the property owner to determine what they want to do with that. Seeing an uptick on just on unincorporated pockets down here in the valley of vehicle burglaries. The holidays are upon us here in the next couple of weeks, so be cognizant of leaving articles out in your cars that are visible. Anything, even a lunchbox or something like that. The crooks are looking for opportunity, And if they see something that they think may have something of value inside of it, they're going to take that opportunity, break into your car and take your stuff. So if we can make sure that we're putting that stuff away, out of view, out of sight, it'll take that temptation away and they'll move on to the next car, hopefully. And hopefully they go through the whole neighborhood and there isn't anything there that they see worth taking. And if you do have stuff, put that stuff away, but don't do it. If you're gonna put stuff in your trunk that's valuable that you don't maybe want to take in the house or something like that, don't do that right after you park because they're watching. So if they see you get out of your car, take something out of the front and throw it in the trunk, they now know that there's something valuable in that car, right? Enough for you to actually try and secure it and hide it and put it out of sight. So if they see that, they're gonna target that vehicle to see what you guys put in there. So just be aware of that. We're starting to get a lot of parking complaints of people parking, double parking. As you guys know, over here on the east side, down in the valley, the roadways are real narrow. Sometimes you can only get one car down the street at a time because the cars are parked on both sides. Just know if you have friends or guests over, if you're parking and their car is blocking a driveway or something like that, we will get called. We will respond out and either issue a citation if we can't find the owner and the homeowner can't get their car to their driveway. We may end up towing the car. So just so if you have family and friends over for the holidays, just be aware of that. Parking is a premium over here on the side of town, so just be aware. What else? Party calls. We seem to be getting maybe 10 to 15, maybe up to 20 calls for parties a night on the weekends. They're usually big parties. And we just want to let you guys understand our legal authority to take action on those. And our policy in regards to that. If we don't have a victim or someone that's willing to call and say, hey, I'm so-and-so, I live at this address, and there's a party next door, all we can do is go over there and ask them to shut the party down or quiet down. And if they don't answer the door, we can't go in their backyard, we can't force our way in the house to tell them to quiet the party down. Because at that point, we don't have a victim to a crime. So our policy is if there's no person that's willing to be, or if there's someone that wants to be anonymous or doesn't want to be contacted, we will go as a courtesy and ask them to shut it down. But anytime after that, we need someone to come forward and say, I will be a victim if they don't turn it down. So then we will knock on the door, we'll do everything we can to contact that party and let them know, like, this is your last warning, we now have a victim. If we come back a third time, we will issue them a citation and go forward with that. There is a county noise ordinance. However, the county noise ordinance is very convoluted. It requires you to have a decibel meter reading. It also requires you to know the normal decibel rating in that area when the party isn't going on. So obviously it's kind of cumbersome, and environmental health is the county division that would deal with that in our area, unincorporated areas. Oh, what else? Couple calls of note. October 9th, which I guess is the last meeting you guys had, we actually had a homicide. I don't know if Lieutenant Moore discussed that with you because it happened the day of your meeting. So it was up on Mount Pleasant Road, up in the foothills. And there was a female that was shot and killed and left in a driveway. The driveway where she was at was not related to her or the actual homicide. Our detectives have been working that case for the last month. They've identified several suspects. They've arrested 2, not for the homicide, but for associated cases. And they're very close to identifying the actual shooter in that case and arresting that party. So that's what's going on. I can't give you any further details than that. That's all I know. They keep that all close to the vest just so that the suspect doesn't know that they're wanted. But we are progressing forward on that case. Other case up in the valley, you guys may have seen it or heard it or maybe even know about it, but we had a missing person come out up by Lick Observatory. A male and female were in a car going for a drive. They got in an argument. She jumped out of the car, didn't want to be with him, and ran off into the woods. And he could not find her. So he called us. We went up there. We spent 3 or 4 hours trying to find her. Obviously, it was dark. It was late at night. We couldn't find her. The next day, we went back up, looked in the daylight, couldn't find her still. Called, I think it was East Bay Regional Parks helicopter out to help. We had Milpitas PD up there with their drones, trying to see if we can find her. We could not find her for 2 days, 3 days. And then after the weekend was over, because this happened on like a Thursday or Friday night, when the weekend was over on Monday, she actually had walked to an associate's property up there and called and said she was fine. She just didn't want to be with that guy anymore. And she did hear us calling out for her and looking for her, but she did not want to talk to us either. So, but she is fine. So if you heard helicopters and a lot of patrol cars up there, that was what the case was. So that's all that I have so far. Stolen vehicles. I looked right before I got here. In the last 3 weeks, we've had 7 cars stolen out of unincorporated pockets on the east side of San Jose alone. It's been an ongoing trend. If you own a Hyundai that has a key ignition start, good luck. It takes them about 15 seconds to break into that car and start it. So Hyundais are a big trend right now of being stolen. It's mostly juveniles that are committing these thefts. So even if we do catch them, the consequences and the repercussions of that are very small. So, but we are there. We are aware. We reached out to our county auto theft task force. They're aware of the situation, so they send out undercover deputies or officers to sit in certain areas where we know a lot of these cars are being stolen from, and attempts to catch these guys as they steal their cars. So that is all I have. Any questions? Yes.
Question: is there in San Jose a curfew limit on parking?
In the city of San Jose, I cannot answer that question because we don't cover the city of San Jose. I will say in the county there is no curfew. It's just any unreasonable noise. It doesn't matter time of day or night. If it's loud and unreasonable, you can call. The key word being unreasonable. I mean, if you have a church that's having, choir or a concert at noon on a Sunday, I mean, we had complaints about that. And it's like, I don't know how you tell the Lord to be quiet, but so yeah, it just has to be reasonable. And like I said, if you do call, we will go out and, as a courtesy, ask them to quiet it down. And a lot of times what happens in the party calls is we get there and they says, hey, it's a wedding, and the music will be turned off at 10 p.m., which is reasonable at 10 o'clock. If it goes on between 10, 11, 12, 1, 2 in the morning, obviously that becomes unreasonable, right? So, and I know it's hard for some of the citizens because if it's right next door and it's based and your windows are rattling, you really don't care what time of day it is, right? So, so we try and mediate those issues as best we can without enforcement is our general goal. But if we have to do enforcement, we will. Yeah.
My name is Mike Krause. I'm the president of the Tennessee Neighborhood Association. I advocate for a lot of neighbors associated with disruptive homes or losing situations. Does the Santa Clara County Sheriff Department have a liaison that I can work with?
Right.
Maybe it's not applicable here, but I'm trying to find a liaison here that I can reference for a civil issue within a community addressing the nuisance.
So you're talking about quality of life issues?
Right.
Yes. That would be our county code enforcement. It wouldn't be the sheriff's office specifically. Code enforcement would handle those issues. So environmental health.
A name or
I don't have a name. Jose, can you maybe Google it and find out? You should be able to find it just on the internet. It would just be County Code Enforcement Department of Environmental Health. And yes. And they
email addresses on the sheriff's
yeah, it wouldn't be the sheriff's office. It would be the County of Santa Clara's website, not our. And if that doesn't help, I'll let Lieutenant Jones know. He will be, at least what he told me is he will be attending the next meeting, and he can follow up with you and get that information to you. Lieutenant Jones. But yes, and code enforcement is just like every other government agency right now, short staff. So leave a message and they'll get back to you. If they don't, then just keep calling. It. Unfortunately, they're not always in the office because they are out in the field. So yeah. And that's the other thing I forgot to add. If you're having problem homes in your house that are having parties all the time and you know they're Airbnbs, the Airbnb website actually has a link that you can go to complain about specific houses. And in our experience, we've actually sent emails to them using their own link. They're pretty responsive, especially after all the incidents that occurred a few years ago where they were having parties and people were getting shot and things were just getting out of control. So they're fairly responsive when you email them about incidents. And obviously for us, they're gonna respond a little bit quicker than a citizen. However, if you can get everybody in your neighborhood to send in a complaint about the same house, that's gonna show a little bit more, urgency for them to respond to it and try and alleviate it. So that's also an option for you guys as well. Yes.
Thank you so much.
Okay, anyone else? Thank you, appreciate it. Again, just give us a call. I'll be working, I work the weekends. Oh, that's yours, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I work the weekends every Saturday, Sunday, Monday night. And I will be here for the next, till December of next year, so at least. So be happy to hear from you guys. If you have my email, email me. That's it. Do my best to help you guys. All right, thank you.
All righty. Now we'll go on to our elected officials. If I could see, I would tell you. Assemblyman Alex Lee, his representative Tim Orozco is here. Oh.
I need to use the mic. My voice is a little hoarse. Went to a wedding this weekend. So I gave you all this press release, and it said that the governor has signed 11 of Assemblymember Lee's bills. So I just want to point out a few of them. And also, I want to let you know that we had a great emergency preparedness workshop. It was in Sonol. I know it was a little far, but hopefully we could do that here in Berryessa. I know we're doing CERT tonight, so it was the same thing. You know, we'll be happy to bring CAL FIRE like we did. We'll be happy to bring Cal OES and the sheriffs and so forth. So maybe we'll do something in the future. So this is reminding me of that because we're doing CERT tonight. All right, just a few bills I want to mention. AB 413, you can follow me here. Basically, it's the daylighting bill. So it will basically prevent cars from parking within crosswalks, 20 feet. I understand like my Honda Civic is 15, 16 feet long. So basically you can't park a car at next to crosswalks, and that's what that bill will do. So the cities will be implementing this in the downtown core, maybe some other areas, but so that's daylighting. And then there's a new advisory committee, this AB 652. So, and the advisory committee will be put together by the pesticide department. There is a Department of Pesticide Regulation, interesting enough. And basically the advisory committee, the Department of Pesticides will have to create this advisory committee, and we'll have to bring together stakeholders from those who are impacted by pesticides, especially we're considering those people out in the valley. And so we want those farm workers, we want some of those residents in those small towns to be able to sit on this committee and let us know how they feel about pesticides. I was in the valley this weekend, and you see this you know how it is. It's like how LA used to be, right? You have this, looks like smog, but it's a terrible layer of just awful air. And, you know, and definitely I was in Bakersfield and I see it there. They have the worst air in the country, Arbon. So this, anyway, it'll be a good advisory committee to bring these people together and share their ideas and their advice. And then the next one is the state fire marshal. Dick Santos, you didn't like this, but it's just a study that will direct the fire marshal to look at building single staircase apartments beyond 3 stories. and probably maybe up to 6 stories or so. But right now, you could have a single staircase in a 3-story building. This would have the state fire marshal look into higher buildings to see if it's safe and so forth. They do it in New York City, in Seattle. They go up to maybe 8 floors. And so we're going to look at that here. And then they'll come back in a year or and let us know how they feel about that. And then the last one I want to point out is on the backside, because this impacts schools. Our superintendent is here. AB 1503 at the bottom recognizes California's rich diversity by providing students a full day excused absence for religious retreats per semester, up from 4 hours. So before it was just 4 hours, half a day, and now it would be a full day. So for students to go on religious retreat. Remember, I used to take off for Good Friday, so I was allowed to take those 4 hours and do the 3-hour service, which I dreaded back at the time when you're a kid, but this will allow those kids to do that, right? All right, so I'll just leave that and you can read the rest. Then the legislature reconvenes on January 3rd. If you have any ideas for any bills, go to the website, submit it. We're looking at bills now. So if you can send it to me directly. I'll send it to the Capitol staff. And then by the end of the month or by the end of this year, we'll have a new legislative package. They get 50 bills every 2 years to submit. So give us your ideas. All right, thanks, guys.
Councilmember David Cohen, are you speaking for him? Okay, thank you. Yeah, go ahead.
Good evening, everybody. I have some updates from our council office. We've been pretty busy this fall, actually all year, getting stuff done for the neighborhoods. First, I'm going to talk a little bit about some parks, and you'll see some construction going on. First of all, behind the new Safeway off Berryessa Road, those parks are called Mercado and Brazzoni parks. It's 2 parks. They're about 3 acres apiece. We had the groundbreaking there in September. So if you go now, you'll see work and has begun, and they're actually doing quite a bit of progress. And those parks should be completed by the beginning of summer, the end of spring next year. I know the community has been waiting a long time for those parks, so we're really happy that, that construction is underway, and hopefully the weather will cooperate this winter, and they'll be able to finish that on time. And also another project, the park project that's been highly anticipated, is the dog park on Piedmont here behind this park, or as part of this park. And construction on that is going to begin at the end of this year, so next month. And then that should take about 3 months to complete. So you'll soon have a dog park, in this neighborhood. We've also done a lot of road improvements. So if you go down by Commodore, we're actually on Commodore, where Commodore Park is, that whole street. We've gotten a lot of complaints about, cars speeding down that road. So the city went out, they did a study, and the first thing they do is they put striping. So it visually narrows the road, makes it a little bit, it makes the drivers slow down. And more improvements might come later, depending on how well that works. As part of that project, they've also added some parking for the park. So before you couldn't park on the street, they had the lot, but now Commodore Park, there's probably like 4 or 5 cars can fit on the street right next to the park. So that's new. So you can go ahead and park there. Also on Sierra, west of Lundy, which is also behind the new Safeway, that neighborhood back there, the Notting Hill neighborhood, where the golf course is, there have been a lot of improvements going on that road, including speed bumps, some bollards and striping, crosswalks. And that neighborhood has had also some issues with traffic, and cars going fast and just a danger to pedestrians. So a lot of improvements have taken place there. And then also, if you drive down Mayberry Road, and this is great for me because I live right, near that intersection on the 680 overpass. If you look on either side, there are some new trees there. So that's great. I think there's probably about 20 trees on both sides of the road. And as you know, trees are a big part of, it's one of Councilmember Cohen's goals is to get a lot of trees, new trees in the neighborhood. And also in parks, so we'll be planting a lot of trees in parks. You'll see a lot of that going on. And we'll actually have some tree planting events that you guys can participate in coming up, including, I know Councilmember wants to do a tree planting at the Reach 2, which is the park in front of the Noble Library. So I'm working with, actually with the Parks Department to figure out how to get some trees in there. And we'll plan a tree planting and hopefully you guys will join. And that'll probably happen at the beginning of next year. And then we have some events coming up, including here. So we'll be here we're gonna have a table with some giveaways here on Saturday. The crafts fair is happening here. So be sure to come by and support that. And also the last farmer's market, so you should go to that first, is taking place this Saturday at Piedmont Middle School. That's the last one for the year. So go there and then come here. Get some shopping done. And also please help us with our pajama drive. This is the third year we're doing it. So for our Berryessa schools. And we pick, I think it's a couple hundred kids to get pajamas to. So, we need help raising some either funds or some pajamas for the kids. And if you go to our district newsletter, if you're not subscribed, subscribe to that, and you can get information on how to donate to that, or just reach out to our office. All right, and as always, if you have any questions, concerns, or comments, you can reach out to us, district4@sanjoseca.gov, or you can talk to me after the meeting. Thanks a lot.
All right, our old friend from the Santa Clara Valley Water District, Dick Santos.
Good evening, pilgrims. Richard Santos, your director of Santa Clara Valley Water District, and of course, we're getting prepared today for the winter preparedness. Valley Water puts on a seminar every year in October, and all the different cities and public works all attend, and we put the training on. And today we had a news conference with Mayor Mahan and our CEO, myself, and the fire department, and Mr. Wilcox, the assistant city manager. We basically were talking about Coyote, and we're giving over $4 million to go in there and take care of stuff that the city of San Jose has responsibility of, in removing the unhoused and getting housing and all those issues, which is very difficult. At the same time, I got folks here that call me once in a while. I appreciate that, because at the end of my presentation today, I said, it's a partnership, City of San Jose, Water District, and the public. You have to be the eyes and ears. Give us a call. We're better than the mail people. We deliver on Sunday. So you call us, we're going to be there. We're prepared. Again, can't tell the person above or spirit above how to bring the rain. We want it, but it doesn't come in increments. It comes when it wants to, and we got to be prepared. And last year, we were very blessed. We were prepared, but the aquas are full because we all do a good job. And I'm trying to think of some other stuff. Anyway, it's a big project out there, and a lot of money at stake, and then finding the housing is very difficult. And the mayor did a fine job with the city council member to get around 200 little homes over by the VTA. And that had a major impact because it moves a lot of folks out of the creeks who are putting a lot of trash, which contributes to the flooding. And I don't want no one to drown in the river, so it's a difficult time. We also met at the Ruskin School with the council member, David Cohn and Hugo, and we brought the water district staff over to educate about purification plant, recycling. That's the future, which is right now. So Linda would, maybe with your permission, and was talking to David, would like to bring that staff over here and make a presentation here so you could understand what the cost and what it's all about. Earlier, Ron was asking me some questions, about water costs and so on. Water's never going to go down. And I'll tell you like it is, because it doesn't make a difference to me. I don't want the cost to go up. I say this, I pay the same price. But you have the best water in the world right here in Santa Clara County, and the cheapest, whether you believe it or not. I tell you like it is. It is. Go somewhere else and find out. This is the best. And Hetch Hetchy water is fantastic. So we're really blessed, and we do a good job. We're going to meet with the city council Friday to make sure our relationships grow better together. How do we do better during emergencies? We can go on and on. As a young soldier in Korea, I used to deal with the monsoon rains. As a fire captain, I went through all kinds of floods. I'm ready. I'm prepared. We don't want none of that stuff to happen. So we're out there. And again, please call in and let us know. I appreciate the calls. It never bothers me. We got a staff. I keep them busy. And use water wisely. There's not enough to go around, so we got to be smart for your great grandkids to have water. And when you get some of these folks, environmentalists and whatever have you, I love them all. Ain't no common sense out there. They don't want to build dams. You're making a major mistake. I know what I'm talking about, they don't. But we work together best I can. But all I know, when I leave, I want to make sure your great-grandkids have water. That's what we're going to do. Thank you.
May I join you at the mic real quick? I just want to acknowledge Richard Santos and the Water District. There was a eucalyptus tree that fell across Penitencia Creek, about 9 inches in diameter, and it was obviously going to be something that would be an impediment if flooding happened. I gave Richard a call, and within like 3 days, they had gotten permission from the biologist to go down into the stream bed. They had trucks out there, they had backhoe, they pulled it out, they cleaned the area up. And so when he talks about delivering value for our community, he's spot on. They were very, very quick and very, very responsive. And so I just wanted to acknowledge you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Berryessa Union School District Superintendent, Dr. Roxanne Fuentes.
Good evening, everyone. It's great to see all of you. I just want to share a few things of what our schools have been up to. I know with the recent Halloween that just kicked off all of the fall fun across our school sites. It was really nice to see the Friday leading up before Halloween. Every single elementary school had some kind of fall festival, trunk or treat, carnival, dance. It was really great. It was difficult for me because I was hopping around to as many as I could because there were 11 events that Friday night, but just a wonderful opportunity for all the children across our community to be able to have, you know, a lot of fun in a very safe way. And I just want to thank a lot of our partners that are here in the room because I saw many of you out there supporting our sites. I know our elected officials, many had tables. We had Silicon Valley Wildlife, you know, the San Jose Library. So those community events also give us an opportunity to highlight the many resources that our families have access to here in Berryessa. So lots of fun doing that. Also want to share some great news. If any of you ever read the Metro Silicon Valley online magazine. So they just released this fall their best of 2023. So they kind of have the best in all types of different categories, including schools. And our very own Vincy Park Elementary was selected best public school for 2023 in Silicon Valley. So really, really excited for them. I know it's a school site with, you know, all of our school sites have amazing staff, but they have a community of parents and students that have a lot of pride in what they do there. And so with the Metro, it's a polling opportunity for everybody to just kind of chime in and share what they love. And so really kind of a special recognition in that way. Also, just to give an update regarding the status of our Piedmont gym, that was being constructed from the $10 million state grant that we received with the help of Assemblymember Alex Lee. We had hoped that it would be completed with its construction this fall, but there's a little bit of delay. So we look forward to it being completed by the end of December, and we'll have a nice grand opening for the kids and for everyone in the community to come out and take a look at the facility. I've been in there, it's looking really good. I was hoping it'd be open for basketball season, but not quite in time. So that's okay. We'll kick off 2024 with a new facility for Piedmont Middle School. So really excited about that. In addition to that, I mentioned this, I think in September, that the district was looking at some significant financial challenges, especially with a continuance of declining enrollment. We continue to try to market and advertise, you know, the strength of our schools. But of course, this past week, we had our demographer, his name's Tom Williams. He does a demography report for us every year. And it's very telling just to see what family dynamics exist in our Berryessa community. And with a continued decline of the birth rate and families having to move on, it's just not looking good for us in the outcoming years. And so we've already experienced close to about a 400 student drop in enrollment through COVID. And then he's projecting another potentially 500 student drop in the next 3 years, with up to 700 student decline in the next 5 years. So the Board of Trustees is going to be looking at some difficult decisions to have to address that decline in enrollment, because we operate currently 14 school sites. And we certainly don't have the number of children that we used to have years ago. And so in looking at that issue, we do have a budget stabilization committee that's been working for the past year and a half. Their last session, I shared with everyone, I sent out a notice to our community that the committee has landed on 4 areas for review, looking at any potential property for sale, property for lease, school consolidation, and staffing reductions that are necessary to put staffing in alignment with the number of students that we serve. So that definitely will be one of the areas we'll be looking at initially, but these are going to be recommendations that the board will need to review and analyze, not just this year, but over the next course of the next 3 fiscal years to ensure that we maintain our solvency. So just want to be sure I share that with the community because there'll be some changes ahead. Okay. Yes.
So is that reduction in students, is that the K?
Primarily the elementary, so we're a TK through 8th grade district. The past few years, we saw a significant drop at middle school, primarily because our largest cohorts of students were exiting us, right? They were graduating in 8th grade and moving on. We saw a little bit of an increase this year with TK because we expanded TK with the emphasis with every 4-year-old being in a program. So that was really good. We just added another TK class 3 weeks ago. But the demographer did see that as an anomaly based on the current birth rate that he sees in the city. So felt that that was just kind of an unusual occurrence. But the leveling out will be at the middle school, and that predominant 400 drop in the next three years is at the elementary level. Yes. Yeah, it's a part of our documents to our board agenda. So if you go onto our website for our board meeting, it's attached right there for the public. You're welcome. Oh. I'm used to children being all over, all different levels, lots of movement, doesn't faze me. Thank you, and just want to wish everyone a wonderful Thanksgiving.
Busy over here trying to get things set up for our guest speaker. We have one more speaker here, San Jose Seniors Commission, Lilia Hancock.
Linda, could I just make a comment from the remote viewers? Could you have
Have
the
them go
speaker-
next in order. So I'm Lilia Hancock, and I just wanted to let you know that I do officially have a website now, an email. It's seniorcom4@sanjoseca.gov. So if anybody has any issues, concerns, comments about any of the senior programs in our District 4 area, please reach out. If you have any concerns about almost anything in San Jose, there's probably a commission that addresses it, and you could go on the San Jose City website. We are basically there for you to air any issue, and we make sure that we address it and send it off to the proper people, and we make sure that we try to get input from everyone. So I also wanted to let you know that if any of you have any friends or relatives or people that think that might be interested in joining the senior commissioner, there's currently 3 vacancies, one in District 1, one in District 6, and one in District 10. And without the commissions being full on the board, you can't go very far because you can't vote and get things approved and passed. So, we need people's participation. If there's any kind of interest in city-type commissions, please go on their site and join. Thank you.
All right. So, wait, I asked you if you were going to speak. No, go ahead.
As a late addition to the agenda, I will be very brief. So if you receive the mayor's newsletter, you'll know that the mayor will be launching a dashboard soon. He's all about accountability. So he's going to, we're working with the city's IT department and all departments within the city to kind of show those metrics so people can see how the city is performing when it comes to the issues that you care about, such as public safety, homelessness, blight. So you'll be able to look at all that and let us know, or you'll actually be able to see what kind of job we're doing, and you can give us your feedback on that. In some events news, I know that quite a few of you came to our neighborhoods conference. Thank you very much. I know that I saw Sharon, Linda, and Ty there to meet with some neighborhood leaders and to kind of connect with city resources. And the week after, we had the mayor kicked off his very first State of the City, and I saw some folks. I saw Director Santos there. I saw Mike there to join us in kind of the mayor recapping how the year's been going and plans to move forward. And in some exciting sports news, we know that the NBA All-Star Game will be coming to Chase Center, not too far away from here. We'll be also getting the Super Bowl as well, and Bay FC, our latest women's soccer team, will be calling San Jose their home. So very exciting things happening around the city. Thank you very much, and let's get to emergency training.
He didn't introduce himself, and I didn't expect him to come up. So that was Stephen No from the mayor's office, in case you didn't know who it was. All right. So our guest speaker tonight is regarding the Community Emergency Response Team, and the speaker will be Lise Steckmet, right? All right, you're up, sir.
Okay, sounds like a plan. First of all, Director Santos, I live across the street from Greystone Creek. You guys do a great job because we've had a couple of times out there and your guys have been on the spot. So thank you for living up to the expectations we hope to have. My name is Lee Steckmes. I represent the Community Emergency Response Team here in San Jose. Okay, so what does that mean? Basically, we are a group of volunteers who work with the City of San Jose's Office of Emergency Management to help train people like yourself to be ready when things go wrong. Because when the things go wrong and you're in a crisis mode, if there's a big disaster, the fire department's going to be tied up somewhere else, guaranteed. The police department's going to be tied up somewhere else. These guys are going to be tied up somewhere else, and you're going to be on your own for some period of time. So the challenge is, how do you do the basic things to help yourself and your neighbor? It's as simple as that. So there's no magic to it. It's just basically getting experience to think through what you might do when there's a problem. I mean, any of those of us who are in the military understand training. We train, so it becomes a muscle memory sort of exercise. It's the same sort of thing when you're handling disasters. By the way, I'd like to thank the gentlemen here who have worked tirelessly to get this system up and working. That's okay. We can start without it. This is going to be hard to stand in one place because I move around. So I'll do my best to stay here.
Yes, please do, because we videotape this and make it available.
Good. Okay. I'll lash myself to the podium. Ask yourself, what would you do if there was a major fire up in the hills coming down toward the city? Have you thought about what you would do? How you would evacuate your house? What you would take that's important and what's not important? I mean, little things like that. And that could happen over here on the Berryessa neighborhoods. Let's take it a step further with the school. What would happen if you are at work, your spouse is at work, your kids are at school, and a fire approaches the school? Now, we know schools know what to do with earthquakes, but can you imagine trying to evacuate 200 or 300 kids out of an elementary school? It's not an easy challenge. And if you do they know how to contact you? Do they know where you might be? So it's this whole matrix of questions you might start asking yourself, what would I do if? So let's take another, let's go to the next slide, if we could. Well, we're sort of partway in between here. What would you do if a major earthquake happened nearby? What would you do? Would you help yourself? Would you help your neighbors? Would you know what to do? Because one of the fundamental things we believe in is the number 6. And that's your house, your neighbors next door, and the 3 homes behind you. So that if there's a disaster, you think about the group of 6 instead of just yourself. Because when you do that, you start being able to be a good neighbor. Now, we do that in my neighborhood. My wife and I moved into a new neighborhood, and that wasn't far away from our old neighborhood. And it took us 3 or 4 months to get to know everybody. I wouldn't say we're good friends with everybody, but we know them. We know their medical issues. We know their handicap issues. So I think in an emergency, we could help. And by the way, could you live without electricity for 5 days? Think about it. Could you live without electricity for 5 days? Now, is that realistic? Let's see. Can you pull the next slide up? That's the a rough location of the PG&E major distribution centers here on the east side of the bay. They start down south with the big one at where 87 and 101 come together, which is the major, one of the 2 major entry points for PG&E into the Bay Area. But what do you notice that it's all these centers are on? Could it be an earthquake that's next up on the queue to be popping possibly? They're all in the Hayward Fault, or very close to it. So when I say, could you live without electricity for 5 days? It's a real possibility. Now, of course, if you have solar and batteries and all that kind of stuff, you can probably live for a few more days, but that's not the average household. So could you live without electricity in the wintertime for 5 days? That can be hard because all of a sudden you don't have any heat. Because every furnace, even though it's a gas furnace, needs electricity for its fan. Could you do it in the summertime? Probably a lot more easily. But also with that comes a whole bunch of other issues. Next one, please. Without electricity, you lose lights, heating, air conditioning, internet, potentially drinking water. I know City of San Jose has backup for some of their water systems, but not for 5 days probably. ATMs, no money. So if the smallest bill you have is a $20 bill in your wallet, guess what the first item you're going to buy costs? Let's got $20. So there's a little logic here that says maybe I put some small bills away in a drawer somewhere in case it's needed. ATMs, can't get money. Grocery stores, can't buy anything because everything there is electronic in the store. And, all of a sudden all the freezers will be going out. So they'll probably have fire sales on items like that. Pharmacies can't get medicine because they can't dispense it. And gas stations. Oh, and that electric car you drive, that becomes a very expensive boat anchor. So, these are things you might think about, but not realize right away because some of these become difficult. These are not easy things that you want to consider, but it's the life we have here in San Jose. Next one, please. So really the question is, should you prepare? Is this just an entertaining for at a meeting in one night, or is it something you want to say, maybe I need to think about what to do? Next slide, please. By the way, the PG&E has a really, really good website. By the way, that's the only good thing I'm going to say about PG&E tonight. It's their PG&E Safety Center. They really have a rich set of resources and ideas that you can use to get prepared. It is better than anything we have at the city or the county or anything else. Next slide, please. So as I said earlier, if things go wrong, they're going to go wrong fast. And our problem is we have a high population and a low density of first responders. You know, you can see the numbers as well as I can. Believe it or not, in a city of 1 million people, we have one urban search and rescue unit left. We used to have 2, we're down to 1 now. So if there's a major disaster, they're going to be busy somewhere else. And at any given time, there are less than 100 police officers on duty around the city. So it says there could be issues when it comes to people wanting to get what you have because they hadn't planned ahead. Next slide, please. I represent, as I said, the Office of Emergency Management, and they have some recommendations. This is guidance, but the things are, you should have an emergency kit at work. I mean, in your office, do you have something? Ask yourself. Should you have something for each car? Afterwards, you can come out to my car and I'll show you my first aid kit. By the way, I have adult kids. I mean, they're almost 50 years old. So, and I have grandkids who all drive. Guess what I gave everybody as a Christmas present a few years ago? They were looking for a check, but they got first aid kits. And these were not commercially bought first aid kits. These are first aid kits I built because I built them for each individual. So for my family that had daughters, they had different things in their first aid kit than I had for my son and his boys who played sports. Very different first aid kits. But the idea is, I built them. Every couple of years, I call them back in, I refresh the things that need to be refreshed, and they're back in their cars. So every car we have, wherever there are, I mean, I have a grandson at the Air Force Academy right now, and he has a car there, and there's the first aid kit in his car. You should have, if you have to leave your house quickly, and I mean, when the police drive by and they say you got 5-10 minutes to get out of your house because there's a fire coming, just if you have any doubt, think of Paradise, California, 5 years ago, whenever it was. How well are you prepared to get out of your house in a hurry? I mean, you're not going to go running. First of all, your first reaction is going to be, what do I do? What do I do? And you'll do the wrong things, I promise you. So in my house, in my kid's house, there's paper by the front door, in a drawer, somewhere they can get to it. It's a list of what you do. So you don't have to think, you just follow the list. And if you follow the list, at the end of it, you're going to be able to get out of that house and have the essentials that you need. And some of them are very simple essentials like, who do I have to contact to tell them I'm okay? How do I contact them? Because let's say the phone systems go out, the mobile systems go down, cell towers are out. California does not require cell providers to have generators like Florida does and Texas does because of storms down there. So the cell towers could go out very quickly. How do I contact people? Oh, can I contact people in this area code, or can I contact people outside this area code easier? Well, the answer is you can probably text message a person better in Atlanta, Georgia than you can text someone here in California. So again, part of our list is contact, and we have a family member in Georgia. They're the contact point for everybody to say, I'm okay, I'm here, what's going on, this is what I'm doing, whatever. We also have in our family, which is called the 15-minute drill. That's it. If you had to leave the house in 15 minutes, what would you do? Now, we live right up against Quicksilver Park down in Almaden Valley. That hasn't burned in 150 years. Is that a fair number, I guess? You know, since the new the mines closed up there. That's a great fire hazard. So our family all lives near there. And so we have the 15-minute drill. In 15 minutes, can you be out of your house with the supplies, in the car, moving somewhere? If you have any doubts, because if there's a major earthquake and the power goes out, you have no idea if it's going to be 1 day, 1 hour, 1 week. So we have the 15-minute drill, which says in 15 minutes, you got to be out moving. And our drill basically is you get on one-on-one, you get out of Dodge. Because if it doesn't turn out to be a problem and you're in Los Banos, you can always turn around and come back. But if you try getting out of the Bay Area with the few number of roads we have in the Bay Area for 8 million people, it ain't gonna happen, folks. It ain't gonna happen. You'll be in a traffic jam like you wouldn't believe. So I'm not saying you should do it. I'm not saying it's right for you or wrong for you. I'm giving you ideas of things you might want to consider. Because if something really goes wrong and you haven't considered this, then you'll be back in the crisis mode, which was our very first slide. The other thing is a multi-day bob. That's a bug out bag. We have it set in our house. We have a couple of big tubs out in the garage next to some cases of water. And there we have the basics you might need to survive for a while. Sleeping bags from the days we used to go camping. Now my wife refuses at our age to go camping anymore. She's smarter than I am, by the way. You know, things of that nature. So if we had to evacuate and move, get somewhere, we could possibly survive the elements. Fortunately, our weather here is fabulous compared to most of the rest of the country. I was in Texas late last week, and let me tell you folks, it rains in Texas. You're worried about water? Go to Texas, they got it. We were driving in a thunderstorm, you couldn't even see in front of you, and people were driving by in their dually extended cab at 80 miles an hour, and they couldn't see anything either. You're going, this is insane. So what should be in there? You can read it as well as I can, but it's the sort of things you might use in an environment. Now, what is non-perishable food? I mean, these are things like tuna fish or Spam or sardines or anything that comes in a can. That, I know people make faces, you know, but if you're hungry, you know, the Portuguese aren't all wrong that sardines are good for you. So it's just thinking those sorts of things. So in a disaster, in a crisis, you don't stop and go, I don't know what to do. But you take the position that I might be able to do. The biggest thing here of all these items here are medications. I mean, one of the things they learned up in Paradise was people did not take medications, nor did they take identification. I mean, if you're a naturalized American, those are good papers to have with you at all times. If you know where your passport is, that's a good take with you too, because it's those sorts of things that make all the difference. Now, most of us have most of our financial documents and insurance documents and all that handled by the company up in the cloud somewhere. But certain other documents, you need to have your hands on. You need to be able to get to it quickly. We talked about cash. So let's talk about preparedness. The hardest part of, I have a job for you. Next slide, please. There you go. This is our hard to see this. The hardest part of getting prepared is the first step. It's that inertia that makes all the difference in the world. So what we're passing around now is a one-page, 24-week guidance of what you might want to consider doing. Very simple. It's something you take when you go to the grocery store and say, oh, this week I need to buy a flashlight and batteries. Next week I need to do this. And the week after that I need to do that. And 24 weeks later, guess what? You're that much further prepared than you were today. Now, if you're already prepared, this will look silly. But if you're not, this might be a place to start. Very simply done. Next one, please. I mentioned this a minute ago, but documentation is absolutely critical when you go for benefits or you need help or anything else. And it's not just documentation. Say, well, my name is so-and-so, I used to live so-and-so. That doesn't count. People want to see real documentation. And by the way, Brad Pitt does not come as part of the documentation with the program here. The other trick in today's world is everything can be stored on a USB flash drive. Every document you have can be stored on a drive, and you can encrypt it so that it can't be lost. That's the best way to do it. I will tell you, each member of my family has one in that front drawer, in the drawer by the front of the house, ready to go. And everything's on that. So if we had to get out of here, we could. Next one, please. And most of us have families of one nature or another, so develop a plan. I picked on the schools earlier if there was a disaster, but do the kids know what to do in an emergency? Elementary school kids, probably not as much as middle school or high school. You can't tell them anything. They'll go do what they want to do. Yeah, I have one granddaughter who's a senior in high school, and yeah, okay, fine. Enough said. Know where to meet family if you're all separated. Talk about it. Have an idea. Have an out-of-town contact where you can coordinate where they are. That works, by the way. For the real little kids, write down the phone numbers. Now, I know schools have all that information in the office, but if you're doing an emergency evacuation of a couple hundred kids out of a school, that's probably not going to be the first thing people are thinking about. So maybe your kids have something in their lunch pail or whatever they do, wherever they carry these days. A credit card maybe. And always have a half a tank of gas. And that sounds silly, but if you need to get out of town in a hurry, if you don't have half a tank of gas, you're in trouble. Half a tank of gas, with my car, I can go about 150 miles, and that gives me a good radius around this town. Now, the good news on half a tank of gas is that it costs half as much when you need to fill up a tank, because you only got half a tank to fill up. Let's go on to the next one. Okay, now part of understanding what's going on is to be informed. How many of you are part of the Alert SCC system? That's Santa Clara County. I'm glad to see your hand go up. I don't mean to pick on you, but I have a lot of respect for this, for our school district, and I have a son-in-law who's a math teacher in a high school, so I hear the stories. Let's try this. How many of you, if you're not part of it, get out your little mobile device and get a text message going. Just a blank text message. And in the where you send the message to, send it to 888-777. And then put in the message part of it, put in the zip code that you live in and send it. You'll get a message back shortly that will say you're now part of the system. It also gives you the option of getting it in Spanish if you wish. Anybody do it? Did it work? Oh, come on. Can't be that hard. There's only one moving thumb. How are we doing? Did it work? If you want to get notification where you work, you can put it in twice. Put in, because it will know your phone number automatically by doing this. It's helpful. By the way, I only thought it was Santa Clara County. My wife and I were driving down in Santa Barbara when there had fires up in the hill. Our phones lit up like you wouldn't believe it. And we got notices of the fires to stay off these roads and stay off this. And you know, we were hugging 101 like most people going through Santa Barbara would do. So it appears it works in other counties here in California also. Okay, anybody else have trouble with it? If you do, I'll be glad to help you after the meeting. We'll have a remedial session at the bar down the street. The other thing you can do is sign up for CERT training. This is the Community Emergency Response Team, and that's part of the organization I represent. Boy, that slide washes out badly. It's a big name, Community Emergency Response Team. It's nothing more than neighbors helping neighbors. You get 20 hours of training free, unless you've already paid your taxes, then you're paying for it indirectly. You get 20 hours of training on how to handle your environment during an emergency. We teach first aid, we teach communication skills, we teach disaster response, we teach terrorism, we teach how to save people when they're pinned and things like that. It is age independent. You can do it at any age you want. I mean, I'm bumping 80 and I've done it. You can do it at any time or place you want. We do give the courses here in San Jose many times a year, usually 12 to 14 times a year. We have different formats. I don't think we talked about, let's go to the next one. It's hard to even see these. We have formats where you either do it in person, or you have formats where we do it on Zoom, and then we meet at the end of the Zoom session for a one-day hands-on training. Because how many of you have ever fired or used a fire extinguisher against a real fire? Yeah, small number. It's not what you think you do. Most people aim high, you aim low is what the right answer is. So we have all sorts of training. We have fire pans, we set up those things, we have fire extinguishers, you learn how to do it, you learn how to do the things that make a difference if there's a fire in your house. You also learn about gas valves and how to handle gas. Now, this is where I should walk over there, but I can't, so I'll stay here. At the table over here, you'll see a gas valve and some of the tools we use to address those sort of situations. Thank you. This is the gas valve off my house. The yellow part is the part you turn. But again, it's interesting. A lot of people here in San Jose are from countries where there aren't gas, natural gas. So they have no idea what I'm talking about at this point. I assume most of you do, but a gas valve. And do you have, let's see if I can put this. Do you have the right tools for turning off a gas valve? Ranging from things like this to your basic variable wrench to what I personally use is this one because it's aluminum, and aluminum won't spark. And when you're working with gases, these are metal, these could potentially spark. This one won't. This can also be used on your water valve. So it's a multi-purpose tool. But it's things like that that aren't hard to get ahead of time, but you just got to start. You got to think, because we all know it's going to happen. If there's anybody here who can guarantee it won't happen, I'd like to talk to them. Okay, next one. We've talked about the curriculum. Again, I apologize for it. But the big thing I'd suggest you do, if you're at all interested, is sign up to get our education newsletters. And we send it out to people. We have about, I guess it's about 800 people on our mailing list right now. And again, most of the people have schedules that don't permit them to attend the various classes, but our classes are usually pretty full, 30 to 50 people who show up and they go through the training. I'll have the ability to do, there's a brochure over there that has a thing, or I have an actual pad over there. You can actually sign up and get the education information. There's no obligation. It's strictly, you're on the list to get information. If it works, it works. It's great. Next slide, please. That's the UR code. Let's go on to the conclusion. Next one, please. You can't control disasters, but you can go a long way to help yourself be ready for it. And just like Director Santos mentioned, you know, I drive past the Water District office all the time down there, and you guys have a lot of equipment, you're prepared, and when we've had problems in my little creek, they're out there because they've thought through what they need. And at least like with the number of times you guys have showed up, you always had the right equipment, which was nice. Usually involved a chainsaw and a truck pulling stuff, but yeah. So if I can offer anything is, here's a chance for free, where you have to invest some time, but nothing more, where you'd be in a better position to help yourself, your neighbors, and your neighbors behind you. And when you look at what Mayor Matt's doing with Together San Jose, and you look at what many people are doing in the Berryessa district here of getting neighborhoods working together, this is another tool that you can use to get to talk to people and knowing what's going on. So, any questions? Yes, sir. My pleasure, sir. Glad to do it.
How long is the training?
Training is 20 hours. Again, we have different formats. We're even going to go, I think, maybe to a third format. But the idea is most can be done online, and then there's one 8-hour, 7-hour day where you have to get actually hands-on experience. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
If you've done the training before, how often do you certify?
The training's done once, and then we have ongoing training at various times during the year that you can volunteer to be part of or not. CERT is a nationwide program, so a lot of times we might not have an exercise going on in San Jose, but like I'll go to the town of Santa Clara or over to Campbell or to Los Gatos, and we'll move around depending on what the training is. So the nice thing about it is you can go anywhere and probably have someone who's interested in what you're doing. I mean, I was recently in Texas, as I mentioned. We were visiting a granddaughter in Waco at college there. And so I just called the local Office of Emergency Management, said, you got a CERT team going? All of a sudden we were talking CERT. And it was just interesting to hear what they're doing, which is they have a different set of issues with tornadoes, which is not as predictable as some items, but less predictable like earthquakes, and equally as damaging. So it's a valuable asset to have. Afterwards, please come over. You can look at a couple of things I have. And most of these are available on various online forums, but some are very inexpensive, some are expensive, but the point is you'll have some ability to do things. So again, my name is Lee Steckmist, and thank you very much for your time and attention tonight.
It's nice to know all the things that you don't know. All right. Ty, did you want to say anything about the pond restoration? Yes.
This is kind of the never-ending story, but I've reached out to Albert Rodriguez. He has been the designated person to head up the effort to pour a concrete footer for the bench that we already have. It's sitting in my garage. Their plan was to expand the footer from 2 inches to 4 inches. And so they owe me a replacement quote. We went to the site. Everything's good to go for that. And when I reached out to him earlier, late last week, he was saying it was just a crazy week and he would be getting back to me. I'm trying to get this thing done before the end of November, but but I will do what I can, working with the city to make sure that it's done in a competent manner, consistent with their needs and requirements. And can I give 2 minutes on UNSCC?
Oh, sure.
One of the hats I wear is Secretary for the United Neighborhoods of Santa Clara County. We're at the tail end of what is called Cycle 5 grants. That's $316,000 worth of grant money from the city to 76 different organizations, and amounts from $5,000 down to $720, I think was the low end. And that's leveraged money. It's a wonderful way for the city to put money into the communities and capitalize on the volunteer efforts on behalf of the citizens to take that money and put it into good use. They're probably going to extend the completion date beyond December the 31st because the money was late in being delivered to the neighborhood associations because of some internal problems. So it looks, I don't want to put a date out there. I'll let them make that announcement, but I know that it is coming. And they're already talking about Cycle 6, probably in the same kind of financial neighborhood, $300,000 to $350,000. And so they'll be reaching out to let community associations like ourselves and others attend a orientation guidance meeting where you can submit your proposals on what you want to do and get funding. And we will continue to look at those as opportunities for us to make a difference in the community. And with that, I'll open for questions.
Thank you, sir. All righty. Just a couple of announcements. Next general membership meeting is December 11th, and we will be entertained by the musicians and choir, I think, too, right, of Sierramont Middle School. So that'll be fun. And then there's a BCAC board meeting next Monday. I'm not sure where we'll have it yet, but I'll let you know. And I really want to thank Lise Steckmest for the presentation tonight. There's just so much information out there. And The older I get, I keep thinking, oh, I should, we're going to be moving slow when there's an emergency. So I really need to think about getting more prepared. So he has the table set up over here, and he'll be standing there to answer any more questions or to give out any more material. So I'd like to thank you all for being here tonight. And do I hear an adjournment? Yes, ma'am. Yes. I don't, but I will get on him about where was he. He usually sends somebody if he can't come, so I didn't email him and nudge him tonight, so I should have done that earlier. But I'll, running down, oh, hurrying down. Okay, so something was up, so we'll find out. Thank you for asking, reminding me. All right, do I hear a movement for adjournment? All right. Thank you all for coming tonight. We appreciate it. Oh, and there's coffee, cupcakes.